COVID-19 crisis has brought upon us, as my colleagues from the government side stated, an external shock, an external economic shock that requires a carefully thought through approach to finding the solutions to where we need to go. If I read here in the Act, it says that the economy is expected to decline by 5%. But if you can recall that when the government came into power in 2016, they came into power with the premise that in 2020 that we are in now, the economy would be growing by 5%. So this is a typical back way come a front type of thing, where we want, they propose that we would have been growing by 5%, but now our economy is contracting by 5%. And I put it to you, Mr. President, that this has nothing to do with the COVID-19 crisis in its state, but more to do with how we have been managing Jamaica's macroeconomy. And let me explain. We speak about you want to have an economy that you can increase the standard of living of its people. And we hypothesized in 2016 that we wanted to grow by 5%, and in 2020 the economy is declining by 5%. So, I mean, I see the king, I see the queen. I mean, we can talk about some Jack. Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack fell down and broke his crown, and Jill came tumbling after. Jack and Jill had too much work, working without the reward. Very similar to the Jamaican people, working without the reward. Jamaica's unemployment rate fell last year to the lowest we have seen. But as we get a crisis, nobody has in their savings account enough money to survive for a month. What kind of economy is this which we live? We need, and let me speak, we need to be able to create wealth. So let me speak of another Jack, because the king is there, the queen is there, we are all Jack. So let me speak of another Jack, Jack and the beanstalk. Now, there was a Jack who went to a market and got some beans. When he planted these beans grew and grew and grew and created wealth for Jack and his family. So what is this? Are we Jack and Jill, or do we aspire to become Jack with the beanstalk? I've been passing out seeds in my constituency because agriculture cannot expand because we do not have any water. We need water distribution to our rural farmers because agriculture is what is going to bring us our fortune. Jack and the beanstalk, not Jack and Jill. Jack and the beanstalk, not Jack and Jill. We need to create wealth for our people. We cannot continue in this way. Every country now has found itself in crisis, and every country now is putting measures in place to survive through the crisis and also to increase the amount of economic prosperity of their country. It doesn't make sense we take a Jack and Jill approach towards an economy that needs a beanstalk. And it is important that we understand the analogy that I'm making, because we are spending too much time and effort working out ourselves up the hill, down the hill, up the hill, down the hill, up the hill, down the hill, up the hill. No water in sight. No water in sight. No, the idea here is that we want to create a modern economy. And what I've seen, based on my observation of other countries, is that now they have realized that, yes, the COVID-19 crisis has impacted the economy in a very significant way. But what do? Do we cry? Do we run up and down, oh, we need to contain the crisis? Or do we put structures in place to make sure that the economy can still function and can improve and move forward into the fourth industrial revolution in this time? And that is what we should be focusing on. So half of our time should be spent mitigating the crisis and the impact of the crisis, but half of our time should also be spent putting things in place so that we can take advantage of the fourth industrial revolution and survive after the crisis. We need to create wealth, Mr. Speaker, and a country like Jamaica has the ability to create wealth. But we have been stuck in a Jack and Jill approach, and because we believe that the Jack and the Beanstalk is a magician story. Jamaica can create magic. The world has seen Jamaica done so before. All it takes to create magic, the hand is quicker than the eye. Magic is nothing supernatural. Magic is just something that you do that you have never done before. Jamaica's economy can create magic, and we have the ability to do so. Now, I'm going through the supplementary budget, and I'm reading here that the expected fall in GDP, this is expected to have an adverse consequence on public sector revenue stream, thereby necessitate sharp cuts in expenditure.
Senator Haughton.
Yes.
Senator Haughton.
A point of order, because I am just trying to decipher what is Mr. President.
Rubbish is the rubbish in the state.
Senator Haughton. Senator Haughton, just to say to you that there are certain terms that appear on Parliament.
Okay, rubbish.
May I proceed? May I proceed?
Nothing wrong with that.
Thereby necessitating a sharp cut in expenditure. So I'm looking at the budget, and I'm looking at debt servicing. And originally we planned 287.8 billion for debt servicing. It has now gone up to 295. What we're seeing is that interest charges on the debt has increased from 132 million, or what is it, 132 billion, sorry, to 137 billion. This increase appears to me, Mr. That. Pardon? You tell what is?
Listen, what is that?
What am I saying?
Start over, make you.
The public debt servicing has increased from the interest charges from 132 billion to 137 billion dollars.
5 billion more.
5 billion more. And we said here in the act we want a sharp cut in expenditure. So this is saying to us that there are some expenditures of which we have control and some that we do not have control. Our debt servicing we don't have any control. Why? Because much of it derived from us. So we have to look at this debt and say, okay, what are we losing when the exchange rate depreciates from 135 to 145? $10 depreciation. What are we losing when the exchange rate depreciates from 130 to 145? Because this is important for us to understand that in an economy like Jamaica's, we need to see where we are moving in the right direction. And it cannot be a 360. Last year, oh, Jamaica, this, that, and then this year, Jamaica,
No, cannot be done.
That's not robust. That is not robust. As macroeconomists, we have to be talking about how do we create robustness in our economy. How do we create robustness in our economy? And this brings us to monetary policy, because even though we are discussing the fiscal rule, because it has such pervasive implications straight across the board, we can speak about monetary policy. The Bank of Jamaica's target rate is 0.5%. In America, their target rate is more than 1%, which means that you can borrow short term in Jamaica for 0.5% and reinvest it abroad for 1% and make arbitrage in a day. Hypothetically, look, every one of us invest in 3 instruments. Domestic instruments in domestic dollars, domestic instruments in foreign dollars, and foreign instruments in foreign dollars. Yes. If the interest rate on domestic instruments are too low or below that which is being paid on foreign instruments, then we are going to move capital from domestic instruments to foreign instruments. What does this entail? This entails moving money from one asset class to the other. And that now is going to put pressure on the exchange rate, and this is what we need to address. Now, the idea here is that the COVID-19 crisis has brought upon us a supply-oriented shock that has minimized supply around the world. In this case, many countries have been doing things to increase their own domestic supply. And I also think that Jamaica too should be doing things to increase its own domestic supply. I mean, a lot of the things that we normally get from China, we can't get. A lot of the things that a lot of countries used to get from China, they can't get. Which means that Jamaica is going to be, people could get mass cheaper. Jamaica could be producing more mass. And this 5% backward economic growth of which we speak, we would be in a better position because now we would input in our production process a lower cost to our people. And it is important. It is important because the crisis that we face, no, this is the news, Mr. President. Abroad, this is the news. I read the news. This is the news abroad. Headline news. Oil prices fall. Gas prices fall. But people don't have anywhere to go. People don't have anywhere to go. They are quarantined. Oil price fall. Gas price fall. People don't have nowhere to go. That is the news of foreign. What's Jamaican news now? Oil price fall. Gas price up. People have to stay home to save their money. That makes sense in our time like this?
Absolute rubbish.
It don't make no sense. It don't make any sense. The news should read oil prices down, gas prices down, Jamaica productivity and production gone up. That is what the news should read. A Jack and the Jill them. Up the hill, tumble down the hill with a pail of water. People them dead for thirst. Jack and Jill them, man. Oil prices, the lowest ever in the world. Oil prices, the lowest. I'm an economist and I study oil prices, teacher. The lowest I've ever seen it. I'm expecting Jamaica to respond. Give me a break, me can make some more mass, increase my profit margin, can pay some tax next year, and then we give me a chance, and then now give me no chance.
Not giving us any chance.
We need a chance, man. We need a chance. And agriculture, because this is the point I am coming at. This 5.1% decline in the economy is occurring at a time when there's an increase in the agriculture contribution to GDP. So GDP fell by 1.1% over the last quarter, while agriculture increased by 7%. What does that mean? The IMF last year said that whenever agriculture expands in Jamaica, because of its severe forward and backward linkages. And let me explain what are linkages. Linkages are the connections of an industry to other industries. So backward linkages are where the inputs are coming from. So for example, agriculture, seeds are linkages, soils are linkages, the labor is linkages, fertilizer, down to the sunshine is a backward linkage. Now the forward linkage is where this is going. Is it going into manufacturing? Is it going to the market? Is it going to the hotel? Where is it going? So the point is, we want to expand our economy, and it has to come through agriculture. I know the economy locked down. We're not fool. But at the same time, we should take this opportunity from where we are to say, okay, let us expand our water resources. Let us expand our infrastructure. Let us use this time now to build out so that we can, one, distribute water to everyone, two, reduce the cost of electricity to everyone. We have to take economic development seriously. We have to take where the country is going seriously. And we have to understand that as a country, although many of us are caught up in the rhetoric of just following through the motion, in order for us to create a modern macroeconomy, we need more than just following through the motion. We need clear thoughts and approach to reducing the cost of energy, to distributing water. I mean, I'm a caretaker for a constituency in West Central St. James, and every time we have to chuck water to people. And I'm saying to myself, why every minute we have to chuck water, we will end up chuck so much. The money that we used to chuck water, if we add them up, we could have used them, create a more sustainable water distribution process for everyone. And why are we not doing this? 4 years, all we talk, oh, we want to grow the economy, we want to reduce jobs. Yes, you have been very successful at reducing jobs because you give Jack and Jill the work to carry the thing up the hill. But the economy can't grow.
Very successful in reducing the jobs. And then
anything you want to do, man. You have been very successful.
Senator.
So you increase, you give people jobs. When you give people jobs, Jack and Jill carry the pail up the hill. No water not come down back. What's the sense then go up the
because poverty increase.
Underemployment of our labor. Underemployment of our labor. Underemployment of our labor. We need Jack and the Beanstalk. We don't need a Jack and the Jill. Underemployment of our labor. And I'm going through the budget, the supplementary budget. I'm looking to access at finance. Access to finance in MSMEs. That is our small businesses. People them who are the backbone of modern economic growth. Access to finance fall by 280 million. What are we doing? Why in our budget? Why not spending money for?
Finance from businesses?
MSME, for them.
That is small and micro
enterprises.
It has fallen.
280 million. Them are the backbone. Me are looking at budget for some substantial things, healthcare and hospital. And something what government supposed to provide. Me nah see the thing them so substantial. We make we take the people them country serious no man. Make we take the thing serious. At the fiscal rule this we are suspending now. You know much hard work and how much work going to creating this fiscal rule, man. Which means that we have to understand that if we are going to adjust it in the most marginal way, it must be very, very substantial. I mean, guys, they're changing government. Changing government. The economy want better management. Better management. And there's nothing wrong, you know. It's just a difference in our understanding of which fable we should read. It's just a look. And I can look. Let me show you. Let me show you a thing. See? Let me discuss something with you. Last year, August, I wrote an article. In the Jamaica Gleaner. Yes. Last year, August. And the title of the article is that it says a global recession is looming in 2020. Which means that the average global modern macroeconomist knew that, when you can go search up on the internet, man, knew that there was going to be a recession in 2020. That was August. The average economist, my teacher, was understand the global modern economy. As well as people who read a lot. We know that there was a recession pending in 2020. Why? Global geopolitical occurrences between the United States and China, England leaving the EU, which is Brexit, Germany, there was a fall in demand for their automobiles, and fundamentally there was a backward bending yield curve indicating that short-term instruments were more valuable than long-term instruments. And we spoke about it, which means that Jamaica, as a small island developing state, know that anything that happened in America reached them. So they should be taking the necessary precautionary measures from last year, August, to create a robust economy, so that when it comes to 2020, the spillovers has minimized. But we get caught off balance 2020 down to the budget where we read. We know the COVID virus there in our world, and we read a budget in our March without nothing about COVID virus.
What's the budget, man?
Oh, March also. Look, man, I'm showing that thing. You see, as long as we not address the water crisis, as long as we not address the energy crisis, we can't grow. And we want to stop up a mentality and work out with people. And work them out without no meaningful reward. We are not Jack and Jill. We want meaningful reward. We want meaningful reward. Look at it now. Tourism in a shambles. My entire constituency now under pressure. And these agents coordinate their activities to achieve macroeconomic stability, macroeconomic growth, and macroeconomic development. But I put it to you that if you focus on just growth, if you focus on job creation, you will never grow how you want to and develop how you want to, because that is what we have been doing, putting our people to work underemployed. In order for us to grow sustainably, in order for us to develop, we have to overemploy and create wealth and create value. Move away from the Jack and Jill mentality. Get to Jack and the Beanstalk and let Jamaica grow and flourish. I thank you, Mr. President.